So here's a look at some straight line block ends that I've done. These two are the same objects. This is an earlier stage, and then this one is taken just a little bit further than this one. So I started defining the insides and details inside the object rather than just the overall outside of the object. Same with this here. This is kind of the first stage of this object. So even though it's kind of this weird shaped vase, I go with the main outer edges, outer limit, and kind of connect them together to kind of, this really helps with proportions. And I'm going to go more in depth on these straight line block ends, do some more demos, but I just wanted to do an overview of how to start a drawing. So if you're doing a singular object like this, something this complicated with these details and different things happening, you start with the envelope, is what it's called, of the object. So the outer, these outer edges, outer limits of the object, rather than just cutting in, it's really connecting these two outer points and getting that angle, and that's going to help you with the proportions and really line things up as the drawing progresses. And here's kind of a more complicated little still life that I had set up, some paintbrush, stuffed animal, and some cylinder type shapes. And this is the overall envelope of that shape, kind of the outer limits of that whole grouping of objects. So once I take a lot of time and really, get these lines in the right place, have the right angles, the correct angles. That's why using straight lines is so important when starting a drawing, because instead of doing these curved shapes, it's really hard to determine the correct angle of a curved line. So by using straight lines, you can really judge to see if the angle is correct. And then once I felt like I got this, I moved on. You can move on to filling in, really breaking down more of the details of the scene. And here's another vase as well, kind of the same idea. So there's a lot of areas that are cut into this shape, but I kind of ignore those and go with the overall envelope, this main outer kind of silhouette of the shape. And then from there, once I feel like I have these proportions correct, break down this larger shape into smaller and smaller shapes. And here's one last page. These two are actually different. These are showing kind of later stages of block ends, so two different objects here. Looks like a upside down ketchup bottle and a jar, and some other jars and things. And you can see kind of how I went about blocking these in with the lighter lines there. Same with here. I had this overall angle here and some corrections there before blocking in. Rather than blocking in and getting detailed on this one object, I treat them as one big mass, one group, to get the proportions. And here's one last one showing, once again, this overall envelope, and then blocking in, breaking down smaller and smaller shapes to create a still life of multiple objects. And basically what I did, what you do with one big envelope, you do with the smaller shapes. You basically just start breaking them down into smaller and smaller shapes. And here's kind of a cast drawing, just something image I found online. So this is kind of the first stage that I did of this foot, and then moving on, going in detail, breaking down the shape. So really it's about finding the overall outer limits of the shape and breaking it down. I'm going to be doing some demos showing you how to do a bunch of different straight line block ends for multiple objects, single objects. Go a little bit deeper into it, but for now I wanted to start out with just an overview so that you have an understanding of what a straight line block end is and how you can start applying this to your drawings, to your sketches of whatever you're doing, if it's buildings outside, if it's a still life, an apple, a controller, whatever it is, stuffed animal. Whatever you like to draw, try to break it down in this way. Do your best. Start judging these angles and seeing things in a different perspective, a different way. And in a future video here, I'll show you some demonstrations of how I would go about breaking down this larger envelope into a smaller shape. Anyway, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out my other tutorial videos for drawing and painting. Also, subscribe to see future episodes. Peace.